the tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Beat the Big Dog Thursday here in the Doghouse. And, now we are turning our focus to the NFL playoffs. 6 big games this weekend, and they are all in Beat the Big Dog. That is coming up at the top of the 11 o'clock. The phone lines are open now. Feel free to jump in if you'd like. 256-5764-97.7. That's 256-5764-97.7. Text window for this show and this show only is 732-9TA show. 732-982-7469. I get to see those. They pop right into my window here, and I can respond to them on or off the air. It's a great way to communicate with us. My personal Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We are also on the Twitch and the Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show there. Our YouTube channel is 97.7 ESPN. The Zone. Go there, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and you'll get notifications whenever we go hot, which is like 3 times a day. Go to 977ESPN.com. You'll get links to all of that stuff, and get the app, too. I mean, you need to have the app. The app is spectacular. There you can find a link to Zone 2, 3, 4 as well, our alternate streaming channels that all have more great programming on to remember. Not only do we have Alabama sports, Alabama basketball now going into baseball and so on. We have UAH basketball as well, plus the Havoc, even some select high school basketball action. So really you want to have that thing to bring it home for you, if you will. Now, coming up in a few minutes, a funny thing happened in the NHL. Well, we were all focused on the college football season coming to a head and the bowl season and so on. The Nashville Predators went on a 12-1-1 roll and took over the number 1 spot in the entire Western Conference standings as we inch towards the halfway mark of the season. And a reminder, the league pulled out of the Beijing Olympics, set to begin in 3 weeks. Now, ESPN.com senior writer Greg Wyshynski will join us in a few minutes to talk a little bit of puck with us. You know, a bigger question outside of the hockey story is, should we even be going to the Olympics in China? And since we are, will anyone stand up for the oppression there and what we are doing to those people in Hong Kong? Not us, what they are doing to their people in Hong Kong? I mean, it'll be interesting. We've seen in the NBA so many times NBA players protesting our own country, the inequities in our own country. But they're generally silent on China, who's got the worst, human rights record in the world. Yeah, they're okay there because they get money out of China and they get their sneakers out of China, whatever. But the NBA isn't involved in the Winter Olympics. You can argue that they should be, but the NBA isn't involved in the Winter Olympics. So will someone in the Winter Olympics step out of line and point a finger at these people? It's going to be interesting to watch. We've had this Omicron portion now of the COVID, and folks, this isn't ever going away. There's going to be COVID is going to become a word like flu to us. I mean, it's going to be something that there'll always be some other variation of it, I assume. And people get sick in the wintertime. It's a true thing. Yes, is this more dangerous than the flu? Sure, but if you get the vaccines and the boosters and all that kind of stuff, maybe it's not. You can debate that till you're blue in the face. Maybe it's just like, everything else. The flu killed 60,000 people a winter, and now this thing right now. So I went and looked at the coronavirus numbers, and I was shocked. we've lost in the U.S., we're back to having like 22 or 2,300 reported coronavirus deaths a day the last few days. And we've got over 866,000 deaths that have been credited to coronavirus. In China, where they invented this thing, let's not kid ourselves. In China, they have only reported 4,600 deaths in 2 years. Since the thing came around, they've got a total of 4,600 people. We've had more than that in the last 2 days. It doesn't make any sense. Somebody's not telling the truth. Now, speaking of truth saying, interesting note from Matt Hayes of Saturday Down South. By the way, also on the show today, Steve Merrill, back from ProSportsInfo.com. Take a look at these playoff games. Interesting note from Matt Hayes of Saturday Down South. And can I just say this about that? I have no relationship with Saturday Down South, but since this thing was founded, I mean, and there are a lot of great sources out there, certainly, and there are a lot of crap sources out there. I got to tell you, Saturday Down South is fantastic. I am a huge fan of Saturday Down South. I am a subscriber to The Athletic. I pay for it. But Saturday Down South, I've been a big fan since John Cooper started this thing. I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years. I don't even know how long it's been. But anyway, Matt Hayes for Saturday Down South. Interesting note regarding the SEC championship game in Indianapolis, right there in Big Ten country. He says that during the game, a current Big Ten head coach texted him with a simple message, quote, "We've got a long way to go," close quote. And he doesn't out the coach. You wonder, could it be Brett Bielema? Since, he had his foray into the SEC? It wouldn't be John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh, right? It wouldn't be Jim Harbaugh. Ryan Day wouldn't say something like that, would he? Kurt Ferentz was probably in bed. Game was at night. Guy's 80. I mean, who do you think? Would it have been James Franklin? Another guy that has seen the SEC up close and personal? I wonder who said that to him. We've got a long way to go. Now, we talked about the fact that in the last, since the BCS was invented in 1998, BCS and then morphed into the playoff, there's been 6 different SEC teams that have won the national championship. A little history lesson. I need some kind of a history sounder. You know what I mean? I need some sort of a history. I have sounders for all kinds of stuff. I haven't made anything new. I haven't anybody make anything new for me in a while. I got all of these different sounders and stuff, but I got nothing that would work for history. Because, really, I mean,
that's a quarter of a century.
That's a little bit of history.
That's a long time.
All right. I've almost been on the air that long.
We're talking about 25 years.
Almost. But I have nothing that is really history-oriented. And it seems like 3, 4, 8 times a week, I kind of give you a little history lesson. So I'm going to go down that path again today. 3 years, 3 different teams out of the SEC win the Natty. I mean, just think about that for a second. LSU, Alabama, Georgia. 3 years, 3 different teams. Store that over here in your mind. Write that down over here on the side of your dashboard. Think of it this way. In my lifetime, okay, in the dog era, as I like to call it, which now spans 61 years. The dog era begins on 9/11. 19. I need it a little louder, Chris. Just a little. I need a little more of that. Is that history? Is that a history sound? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. So turn that back down. So in the dog era, since 1960, when Minnesota was the AP and UPI national champion, the year I was born, Minnesota went 8-2. They were 8-2 that year, and were named the national champion by AP and UPI. Since that time, only 3 Big Ten teams have won any part of a national title. Ohio State, of course, which has won a few. Michigan in 97 got the AP. They gave Nebraska, the coaches gave Nebraska so Michigan got a half. And then that 8-2 Minnesota team. By the way, also in 1960, Ole Miss was 10-0-1. They were named the national champion by the Football Writers poll. But no one respected the SEC then. They really didn't, largely because of segregation. They just weren't going to cut them any slack. So 8-2 Minnesota got the AP and the UPI. But a total of 3 teams have been named during that time. Current Big Ten teams like Penn State and Nebraska, they won 5 titles, but they weren't in the 10 then. Okay, so they don't count. Out of the Pac-12 conference, which was the Pac-8 conference for many of those years, only USC has won a national championship, and they've won a few. And Washington in 91, Washington got a half. They got a half a championship. I think the UPI gave Washington a split in 1991. So 2 teams have been named since 1960. The Big 12 had titles with Texas and Oklahoma. But really, that's not true. You had Texas. Yeah, you did. The Big 12 had titles with Texas and Oklahoma. Before that, Texas was in the Southwest Conference and Oklahoma was in the Big 8. See, Nebraska, they were in the Big 8. When Nebraska got theirs, current Big 10 teams, Penn State, Nebraska, they got 5 titles. They weren't in the 10 then. They weren't in the 10. Nebraska, Florida State, Florida State and Clemson have won for the ACC. Pitt and Penn State, when they won, they were Eastern powers, basically. They were independents out of the East. When Miami was rolling, you remember, you think of Miami in the ACC. They've never even won the ACC championship. When Miami was dominant in the early 2000s, late 90s and early 2000s after the Nebraska domination, they were part of the Big East. They're part of the Big East. So let me sum this rant up by saying this. In the last 3 years, the SEC has done what no other conference in the country could do in the last 61 years. 61 years. 61 years. And so, Kayvon Thibodeau, the kid from L.A. with the Louisiana name, probably the number 1 pick in this year's draft out of Oregon. He decides to take a shot at Alabama's academics, saying that he went to Oregon instead of Alabama because, quote, do you know the stigmatism of an Alabama education? It ain't the West Coast, close quote. Well, the most respected authority on this topic is U.S. News and World Report in their annual rankings of over 1,400 colleges and universities in the country. I have the data. Is Thibodeau right? I have the data. Where does your school rank? If you want to know, let me know. Grizz went to every school in North Alabama, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Made the rounds. He's over there playing those platters that matter in stacks of wax. He's answering the phones. He's keeping us on the air. It's Coach Rick.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the f*** it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
What the hell is astigmatism? Grizz,
That's a
what
big
is he
word.
talking about?
That's
I don't
a big
think
word.
I think astigmatism is something that is in your eye or something, isn't it? I'm not a doctor, all right? But isn't astigmatism like a stigma in having something to do with your eye? What the hell is he talking about? Astigmatism.
I have no idea, but to kind of go back to what you were talking about around the NBA, I don't know how many times the NBA has been called out, including Nike and certain players that have ties with certain clothing brands over there for the forced labor laws and just honestly calling for democracy of a people to where they get to the point of actually banning a lot of these games on their CCTV, as they call it, and their national TV, whatever it is. To the point of just saying, hey, if you don't believe, if you don't agree with us, then we're just gonna go ahead and just write you off. Kind of like a little bit of kind of how we're kind of using a lot of ways to cancel a lot of people nowadays. It seems like they're doing the same. It's like they're doing it like the whole country. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, and who knows? We don't know anything about what the people want. We don't know anything about because
Right.
says there's no reporting on anything that is. But I want to get back to the education thing. I'm trying to figure out what in the hell Thibodeau is talking about here. So I went to U.S. World and News, the U.S. News World Report thing. The best colleges in the nation. They rank them every year. They go through this, and it goes through all of these different standings and everything else to rank the colleges. And it's a fascinating list. It has to do with the money that you make when the alumni their first paycheck basically when they leave school. It has to do with the value of the education and all these other types of things. So, what do you think the number one university in the nation is? The number one national university in the entire country. What do you think would be number one, just off of the top of your head?
Yale or Harvard?
Okay, you're close. Princeton.
Okay,
you're correct. Harvard is 3. Princeton is 1, and these Ivy League schools are always battling out for this distinction. Princeton's 1, Columbia is 2, Harvard 3, MIT 4, Yale 5, Stanford is 6. The University of Chicago, the Maroons, is tied with Stanford for 6. Penn is 8. California Institute of Technology, is that Cal Poly? California Institute of Technology is 9, and Duke is tied with them for 9. Johns Hopkins is also tied at 9. Northwestern is in that ranking too. So look, Oregon or Alabama is not in that heady ranking. Not in that heady ranking. So I went to see where these are. Now Oregon is number 99. Now remember, there's over 1,400 universities ranked. So Oregon is top 100. They are number 99 in the country. You know who else is number 99, tied with Oregon? Auburn.
Ooh.
Auburn, number 99.
Engineering
as well.
Yeah.
All right, so Alabama. So where is Alabama on this list? Alabama's number 148.
All right.
Okay, so
top 200.
Yeah. I mean, number 148 it's not 99, but it's not necessarily astigmatism. It's not a thing in your eye. It's not a sty in your eye.
Alabama's about halfway like me in high school. You're like you graduate halfway in your class.
148. But listen to this. The average alumni starting salary after you graduate from Oregon, the average alumni starting salary at Oregon is $49,800. The average alumni starting salary out of Alabama is $50,700. Oh. Now, I wonder if that's because all those Alabama guys go to the NFL and are making millions. You know what I mean? Maybe that's averaged in. I don't know if that's the case or not. But so you make a little bit of more money when you come out of Alabama. Now, when you come out of Auburn, $52,800. So I had to find where my college was, St. John Fisher College. We're number 187 on this a small private college, number 187. $45,500. The other thing that blew my mind about my college, like Alabama, what do you think it costs to go to Alabama if you're in state? It's the same as UAH. So what do you think it costs to go to UAH or Alabama if you're in state?
Like like 20 something?
11.
Oh, okay.
11,620. It's not bad. Out of state is 31,000.
More than that.
Yeah, in state is 11,620. When I went to St. John Fisher College in 1978, fall of 78, tuition was $7,200. It sounded like a lot. $7,200. Tuition at my school now is $36,000 a year. And there's no in-state break because it's a private school. I'm figuring at UAH, by the way. UAH. Where the hell did you end up with? Calhoun is where it all ended?
Yeah.
For you? Did you go to UAH for a minute?
I did for like a year.
UAH is number 263 in the country.
Yeah.
Okay, so UAH is certainly
I'm
not
looking.
Oregon.
I'm looking at their UAH overview. The average starting salary is $58,000.
60,100. That's
this
pretty
is on their
high.
website, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, well, this is as of 2021 in terms of the U.S. World of News. $10,000 a year more. A UAH grad makes $10,000 a year more than an Oregon grad when they come out of school. They make $15,000 a year more than my college, and they make $10,000 more than at Alabama. Now, Michigan fans are wondering, are listening, they're saying, Michigan, what about Michigan? Michigan's number 23 in the nation. A Michigan grad makes $64,700 when they leave Michigan. What do you think it costs to go to Michigan?
$25,000.
$53,000 a year to go to Michigan. If you're out of state. If you're in state, $16,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, who else is there? Oh, and Tennessee. I know you Tennessee people want to know where your school is on this list.
What about
103?
Yeah.
Auburn's 99. Oregon's 99, and Tennessee is 103. Basically, that's the same. I mean, that is so infinitesimal. Average alumni starting salary out of Tennessee, $51,400. But you do come out of there with knowledge of how to field dress a deer, which is an important thing. Just thought I'd throw that one in there.
Well, that's the thing about Thibodeau that I didn't understand is because he was talking about working with Nike. And I saw.
What's he talking about Nike for?
Well, I saw something. I saw something where it was like because he's involved with Oregon, he's working for an organization, and it seemed like it was like the way that he was describing it was that I thought I saw in the article where it said something like
is it the University of Nike?
Like no, he just said like he was working with Nike. So like all the comments were like, well, is Nike paying you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, well, I get it. Like he thinks that he's gonna make more coming on. I mean, honestly, think. If you graduate anywhere, you should like whatever job you're going for. Like you graduate anywhere, you should be able to you're gonna make a decent amount. Like I don't think just you're going to because like at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are just going for the NFL anyway. If these guys that don't usually graduate then come back like Cam Newton. Cam Newton didn't graduate from Auburn. He came back and graduated later. So I think at the end of the day, like. I don't necessarily know if like he's out of line for saying something about someone's education, like saying that one state is better than the other, or whatever college is.
Well, you could say that if you're in the Ivy League,
I get that. We completely
get
education,
or if you go to Michigan.
Look, I'll tell you this:
going to Michigan is a bigger deal.
Right.
You come out of Michigan or Notre Dame with a degree.
Right. I think
that's
a
bigger deal than coming out of Ohio State.
But I think it depends on what you're going for, though, too, because like when we talk about Auburn, a lot of that's probably engineering. UH, a lot of that engineering. Alabama, it's probably lawyers,
Business, actually, it's mostly
or business. Well, then business. And then if we look, just into like, let's say schools around here, Athens State. I'll guarantee you it's a lot harder for you to go through getting your education degree at Athens State than it is going at UH. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that they put more into it, I would say, because I've been to both. I've been to both because I've seen what the teachers ask and want out of, you know what I mean? Like, I
could be based on
UAH is like but UAH has got all the money in the engineering and math and science. You know what I mean? It's not a
good communications department over there.
Correct, and it's just you don't necessarily have like it's not all liberal arts. I would say.
He said what people don't realize is that football is an American sport. So no matter how great Alabama is, you only play football in America, Canada, and a couple of other places. But a brand like Nike,
right?
I mean, for me, it was like, what brand associations do I want to be tied to? For me, I already hate the stigmatization of football. I already hate the stigmatism of football players being dumb jocks. Do you know the stigmatism of an Alabama education? It ain't the West Coast. It ain't Harvard. Well, I got news for you. Oregon ain't Harvard either, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about with stigmatism, unless you're going to be an IW.
When it comes to football, though, can you name an Oregon player or an Alabama player first?
Well, yeah.
Can you?
He doesn't want to be associated with football. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft, but he doesn't want to be associated with football players. I guess I guess he doesn't have a value in his mind. There is no value for it. All right, we're over time. Let's get a break in here. When we come back, Greg Wyshynski will join us, ESPN.com senior hockey writer, as we turn and look at that sport because they're almost to the halfway point. Of course, the Havoc continue to have just an absolutely great season in the SPHL as well. We'll talk Greg Wyshynski next right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
UFC 270 a week from Saturday. Heavyweight interim champion, the challenger Cyril Gane, a -120 favorite over the current champion Francis Ngannou at +100 for the flyweight title. Brandon Moreno -175 against Davison Figueiredo at +145. Saturday, the first two games of Wild Card Weekend in the AFC. The Raiders a 5.5-point underdog at the Bengals. Then the Bills a 4-point home favorite against the Patriots. In the NFC Wild Card Sunday, the Eagles +8.5 at the Bucs. 49ers +3 at the Cowboys. Then in the AFC again, the Steelers a 12.5-point underdog at the Chiefs. On Monday night NFC Wild Card game, the Cardinals +4 at the Rams.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50s-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Here in the South, we like our traditions, like Alabama football and tailgating on fall Saturdays. And the best way to start your tailgate? Visit Brooks & Collier to see North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers. Big Green Egg, Blaze, and Traeger. Everything you need for that perfect tailgate. Check out our rubs and seasonings. We have a full wall to please any taste palate. Visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for 75 years. Roll Tide.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A few more clouds this afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, but temperatures should still climb into the low and mid-50s. Seasonal for this time of year, dropping into the low and mid-30s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Friday. A little cooler on Friday afternoon. Temperatures only hanging out in the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the mid-30s as we head into the overnight. It does look like we are going to be dry through the first half of the day on Saturday, but once we get beyond the lunch hour, it does look like some widespread rain is going to move into the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by TOC Sports. Don't forget, the TOC Sports Ice Suite is up for grabs in the Friday Trifecta Grand Trifecta. We'll have that coming up for you tomorrow. And that's a season-long thing now. That'll go right through the Super Bowl. So we've got about 4 or 5 weeks, and then somebody is going to win 4 seats in the TOC Ice Suite. And you'll be hosted by myself, the Junkyard Babe. Grizz will be there, and maybe a woman. You never know, okay? You never know. First round is on me at the Ice Suite. Do they do these things I don't think they do them in the NHL, right? There's no Ice Suites in the NHL. All right, joining us now, a guy that knows everything you need to know about the NHL, and that is ESPN.com senior hockey writer Greg Wyshynski. He's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Greg, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back. Now, the ice suites are what are those? The little tables right by the glass.
It's literally
from the Alabama game.
Yeah, it's literally a suite. I mean, they're like separated by they got dividers, and they'll have either 8 or 12 seats in there, but they're high top tables, with waitress service and everything else, and it's interesting, I guess, to be against the glass. It's hard to see. But yeah, there's no suites in the upper mezzanine level. Or there's a couple of them, but they're down on the ice. But I don't think there's anybody in the NHL that does anything like that.
But there isn't. And I got to tell you, I actually think that's a really novel concept. I remember seeing that in the minor leagues and thinking it was really cool because honestly, the seats against the glass at an NHL game suck. You don't see anything. I mean, they're not good seats. I've always told people that if you're going to a game for the first time and your seats are in row 2 or 3, what's the point? Go upstairs or go to the mezzanine or sit kind of up in the lower bowl, and you get so much more perspective and you still feel the velocity and the speed of the game, but you could actually see stuff. Right? So the idea of taking those not so great seats and turning them into little bar areas or whatever, I think is a really keen idea. And I bet teams in the NHL would do a killing on them if they wanted to do it.
Yeah, I would think they would. They did it in the NFL, remember, with some stadiums, even though they're hard to see, like at Cowboys Stadium and AT&T Stadium there and some of the other ones. They have these seats now, these suites that are at field level, and you're right behind the team or whatever. You can't see anything. You're watching a game on TV. But in Nashville, which, a lot of stars go to the game, a lot of country music stars and things like that, they're all lined up along the ice, along the glass. That's where you find Vince Gill and all of those guys. And it's oh, okay. If I was to be along the glass, I guess I'd want to be in the end zone, maybe behind the net, where you got a perspective of the whole length of the ice. But I'm with you. I mean, if I'm going to the game as a fan, I want to be at least a dozen rows up, if not higher. Upper level of the lower mezzanine is probably the best, and those seats are probably $50 a seat cheaper.
Right, and last thing on that, too, you have to also remember, we should say that these premium seats at NHL games that are right up against the glass, these aren't necessarily people there that want to watch the game anyway.
Yeah.
I've been to so many of these new arenas they've built, especially this new one for the Islanders that I did a story on where I went to. They have 18 different bars inside the arena, so I watched their first game from all 18 bars, but that included the real premium areas. So you got people that are sitting in row 2, but then they're spending most of the first period or second period down in this boxed off luxury bar where they're serving prime rib and stuff. So it becomes a whole deal where you're not even in your seat for half the game because you're using all the other perks that come with your ticket price.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Greg Wyshynski with us here. All right, speaking of the Predators, while we were all paying attention here in the Dirty South to the bowl season and the SEC championship and all that kind of stuff that was going on as the college football season wound down, the funny thing happened. The Predators have gone off on a 12-1-1 run and now have the best record in the entire Western Conference. Look, you don't want to be your hottest, in the before the midway point of the season, but what are we learning here from this Preds team on this run? Is this just a hot streak, or is this something where, you know what, maybe this team is a decent team?
No, I think we're learning a lot about them because they're certainly, during this streak, consistently winning games by limiting their opponents to 2 or fewer goals in most cases. There are obviously some anomalies, like the game that we saw against the Avalanche where the scoring just went, skyrocketing. But that game was also, I think, really informative in the sense of they hung with what is considered to be the best team in the Western Conference, and they beat them in overtime. I mean, the Avalanche aren't really happy with the way that thing worked out in overtime with the too many men on the ice call. But I think if you're looking for those little tests along the way that show you what you might have in this Nashville team, look no further than the performance that they had against that Colorado team. I mean, that was a real you could feel that game on the schedule being a real litmus test, and I think that the Predators passed it.
Yeah, I think so too. And when Phillips Forsberg getting back in there, coming off of the COVID, it seems to be they've got a nice blend of the scoring punch. And Roman Josi, would you consider him to be an underrated guy in the league? I mean, I think he's one of the top blue liners in the entire league, but he doesn't really get national attention that way.
Well, I mean, he won the Norris Trophy, so there is a certain amount of attention that has given to him. But I mean, that was the only time he really threatened to win the award. I mean, look, he's better than a point per game player right now. I think it's going to be a crowded field for that award again this year, where you're going to have Adam Fox, who won it last year. You're going to have Roman Josi. You're going to have Victor Hedman, and then probably lead packed because of how many highlight reel moments he's had is Cale Makar from the Colorado Avalanche. But I mean, I think Predators fans, when it comes to national recognition, are probably all right now screaming Tanner Jeannot at the radios because, that's the guy who clearly hasn't gotten the national recognition that he should have gotten insofar as having an absolutely outstanding rookie year, 23 points, 37 games, certainly has made a huge impact in this Nashville lineup. But then when it comes to the rookie of the year conversation, you've got the two kids in Detroit, Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, that are kind of getting all the attention. Then, of course, Trevor Zegras over in Anaheim, who's, making passes over the top of the net to his teammates and getting on SportsCenter. So that's a tough one to crack. To me, that's the one where we're all kind of sleeping on a really good player because I do think that at the end of the day, Roman Josi is going to get his due.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on overall in the league. Of course, we've got the scenario. We'll talk about the Olympics in a minute, but we've got the scenario with so many games being postponed because of COVID, and then Canada. Update us on what's going on in Canada as far as games being played with teams coming across the border, and how is all of this going to get straightened out? I don't know that in this 2.5-week period or whatever that they would have been at the Olympics, we could straighten all of this out, but it's amazing. You got teams like Ottawa that have played 29 games, and you got I think the Islanders have only played 28 games. Then you got other teams that have, like the Preds, have played 37 games, and Tampa Bay 38 games. How are we going to get this? We're going to get everybody to 82 somehow.
Oh, we certainly will. I think the NHL is pretty adept at figuring out how to squeeze in these games, and I don't think the season's going to be extended. I think that the Olympic break is going to be used to play a lot of games, and then they're just going to have to compact the schedule like they've done, like they did last year to try to get in these games. I think you mentioned Canada. The travel, there's not a whole lot of concern about travel restrictions, which impacting the season like they did last year. But there obviously is concern about when fans are going to be able to go back to arenas at a large capacity, and that's why you're starting to see the NHL flip-flop games. Like, for example, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Islanders were supposed to play a game in Toronto. They moved that one to later in the season when there was a game where Toronto was going to be in New York. And so you get that New York game early on because there can be fans there, and then you hope that fans can come back and see them in Toronto, so they don't have to like give a bunch of refunds. So you're going to see a lot.
Isn't that what happened with the Bruins and the Canadians too? Weren't the Bruins and Canadians supposed to play last night in Montreal, and they switched it to Boston?
I'm not positive on that. That does kind of make sense, but I mean, you're going to see a ton of that stuff, and you're also going to see games that are scheduled for later in the season moved up into the break. We should get a sense of what that break schedule is going to look like probably within the next week and a half, as these teams start to understand what where they need to be travel wise and all that stuff. But I'm confident they can get in the 82 games. Keep in mind that there is optimism that once we get through this wave of Omicron, that it's the interruptions to the rosters are not going to be as severe. They've already made some concessions, like they brought back the taxi squad of guys from the minor leagues to be around to make sure that they have enough players to play. And they've also done some things that the NFL and the NBA have done insofar as reducing the quarantine time for players once they test positive. So they're making some changes and doing some things in the hopes of getting back and not having to pause the season or anything. And I think ultimately they're going to work.
Sports eye candy last night in Boston. I'm telling you, man, there are certain things that just the Cowboys and the Packers, Cowboys and the 49ers, the Yankees and the Red Sox, there's certain things when they're on the field or ice or court together, Lakers, Celtics, it just looks beautiful. And for me, that's Canadians Bruins. I mean, it just looks the way it's supposed to look. It's just fantastic. The Canadians suck. That's good, too. We like that if you're a Bruins fan because the nemesis, they're pretty bad. But the Bruins, Brad Marchand. I know you're not a Brad Marchand. Nobody likes Brad Marchand unless you're a Bruins fan. But you got to admire the way that this kid's game in what he is able to do with a hat trick last night in the first two periods of that game. And now they get Tuukka Rask back, I think, tonight in your game on ESPN against Philadelphia as the Bruins get the national coverage. TNT last night, ESPN tonight, back-to-back nights. But you start to wonder whether or not they can start climbing the list in that Atlantic, which is, right now very top-heavy with the Panthers and the Lightning.
Yeah, for me, first of all, I'm a huge Brad Marchand fan. The first jersey I ever owned as a kid was Claude Lemieux. I have nothing but love for the nefarious, win-by-any-means-necessary kind of players who can then also back it up with offensive results. And, I mean, that's the thing about Marchand, right? He started out as being a rink rat, and then over time blossomed into – you could make the argument that he's, outside of Ovechkin, the best scoring left wing that we've had in the NHL in the last decade. He's been incredible. So the transformation of his game, and yeah, he still has the rough edges. There's nothing not to like if you're a hockey fan. And I think he's, it's become kind of how people say Die Hard's a Christmas movie and they think they're really clever.
Right.
Now it's become Brad Marchand's a Hall of Famer, and people think they're really clever. When obviously, based on the numbers and the success, he should be a Hall of Famer. To be honest with you. So, as far as the Bruins go, what a fascinating story, this Tuukka Rask thing. He missed the first portion of the season after hip surgery. He starts practicing with the team in December. They got two goalies, including one they signed to a big free agent contract in Linus Ullmark last offseason in the chance that Rask couldn't come back. But now all of a sudden it's it's like looking over in the corner of your office and there's a guy doing your job who used to have your job. And the company's like, yeah, he's going to get rehired for your position. So, I think there's a good amount of nostalgia inherent in bringing Rask back. It's all good feelings, especially tonight, to see him back in the crease. But I also think that there's a functional reason to bring him back, which is that their goaltending has been okay. It's not been great. It's been okay. And I think there's an expectation that with Tuukka Rask back there to solidify things healthy, the Bruins can start really solidifying themselves as a potential contender in the Eastern Conference.
And he's not like a real old guy, right? Isn't he 33 or 34? I mean, the goaltenders have been effective into into their mid to late 30s at times. So it's not like he's real. And did he sign for $1 million? Is he getting? I mean, now that he's on the NHL squad and he's starting and everything else, he's only going to make $1 million. That sounds really
because of the cap. I mean, there's no room for him. I mean, that was part of the equation. And so he signs the deal. He also signs an endorsement deal with Bud Light, which was really funny because at the time of him coming back, he said he would play for the league minimum and a lot of Bud Light. and then Bud Light gave him a fake social media contract to sign to say that he's got obligations to drink a Bud Light during a press conference. It's pretty good. But no, he said it himself the other day that like last season was not his best season, and he said it was because he was in pain, he was in discomfort, and so I think there's the expectation that now that he's had the surgery and he's back, and assuming that he's not been impacted by it, that he can make a real difference.
And Florida does seem to be like the epicenter of the hockey world right now with the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, both 53 points. They've played more games pretty much than everybody else in the league as well. But holy mackerels, those two teams are really, really good, it feels like right now.
Oh, yeah, they're great. I mean, Tampa's Tampa still. They don't look like Tampa every night, but they've got such offensive weaponry. And the interesting thing, too, is if you remember when in their 2 Stanley Cup wins, they had an amazing checking line centered by a guy named Yanni Gourde. They had Blake Coleman, Barclay Goodrow on his wings. All 3 of those guys are gone. They all left Gourde in the expansion draft, the other 2 in free agency. And there was this notion of, okay, did the Lightning just get their heart ripped out of them? Well, lo and behold, they go sign Pierre-Edouard Bellemare from the Colorado Avalanche. They signed Corey Perry from the Montreal Canadiens, a very familiar name to hockey fans. And they put both of them with Pat Maroon, who's now had 3 Stanley Cup wins with the Blues and then 2 with the Lightning. And lo and behold, they've got themselves a heck of a checking line. So the Lightning are back in business. The Panthers are just fun. Like every game is an adventure. They're never out of any game. They just crank up their offense and get going. Their goaltending can be good on some nights, but some nights Bobrovsky kind of reverts back to being a little inconsistent. But I think the best thing insofar as the Floridian hockey thing would be for these two teams to meet in the playoffs again. They had a terrific brief series last year. The games that they've played against each other have been amazing and fun. And, we've waited a long time for the Panthers and the Lightning to be not only in a playoff series, but also kind of be on equal footing as contenders. And I think we finally got it. And it's just tremendous hockey.
19-3 at home for the Panthers. All right, finally, this whole bit with the Olympics, how do you think it was met overall? Because I don't know. I was getting a feeling that the players didn't want to go anyway. I mean, was it something? Is there a sigh of relief a little bit? And then also on that Olympic story, the NHL pulls out. But what about other players that represent other countries? Are they allowed to go if they want to go? I mean, if a guy says, hey, I'm going to go play for my country, can they go? Or exactly how does this work?
Yeah, it's just the NHL pulling out. So I should tell you that the Olympic roster for Team USA will be announced on our show, The Point, on ESPN2 at 5 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. So adjust accordingly, check your schedules. You'll get to see who the U.S. Olympians are. And, yeah, I mean, that team you'll see is a heavy mix of NCAA players, players that play in other international leagues, a couple minor leaguers. That's what you're going to see. It's what we saw in
any old vets like we had last time this happened? Anybody that's got like that used to play in the NHL for 10 or 12 years and now is like 38 years old? Anybody like that?
There's a few former NHLers on the list, but nobody who reaches like the Brian Gianta level.
Yeah, no Gianta.
Really familiar name. But yeah, no, first of all, I would encourage people. I have a column up today on ESPN.com where I talked to a few players from that 2018 team and got some advice for this new team going to Beijing insofar as like how you can win a medal in a non-NHL Olympics. It's a really good piece. I hope people check it out. But the other thing too is that as far as like the players in the NHL, you're right that I think some of them are relieved. I mean, there was a little bit of consternation about the protocols for COVID in Beijing. There was all this talk about if you test positive there, you could be stuck there for weeks on end. And then, if you got sick in Beijing and missed any time in the NHL, you don't get paid for that time that you missed. It's part of the collective bargaining agreement. So, like, there's a bit of that too. But the overwhelming majority of them wanted to play, and the overwhelming majority of them are really pissed off that, like, the NHL decided to opt out because I think a lot of them feel that there was a way to complete the season while still allowing these players to go. And I agree with him. Marchand's one of the guys that said it, and I agree with him. Like, if we're right now watching teams that are basically skeleton crews that are missing stars every night with guys in the COVID protocol, like, how is that going to be any different than the 2 weeks we would have had in February with these guys going to play in an Olympic tournament? I mean, I think there was a way to get it done. I think the NHL knew that they could pull out without any repercussions. because of the way the CBA was negotiated. They had the opportunity to say it was COVID and pull out without having to give anything back to the players. And so they did it. And it's a bummer because I think a lot of the players are really looking forward to having this kind of best-on-best tournament, especially the Americans with the amount of incredible young players that were going to be on that roster this time.
Well, apparently it's the safest place in the world, China. You know, from what I'm looking at the numbers, they've only had 4,600 deaths in 2 years due to COVID there. That's what's reported anyway on the list. I mean, we've had 850. If we got 850,000, they've had 4,600. So apparently, you know, China must be the safest place in the whole world where it all came from. But, you know, that's
you're absolutely right. And transparency paramount over there. So,
paramount is absolutely
extraordinarily accurate.
Right. All right, man. Well, good stuff. I appreciate it. I look forward to keeping the conversation going now that it's rocking and rolling. Havoc, by the way, are like 23-3 on the season so far this year.
Wow.
A couple of the SPHL very top heavy right now, but they're right at the top of the top heavy list. So, and it's been good hockey down there at the barn, and the crowds have been big. They're averaging 5,000 a game, which is really nice in a 6,000 seat barn.
Great.
So, all right, man. Appreciate you.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you, Greg Wyshynski. Friend of hockey everywhere. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back and set you up for Beat the Big Dog, which comes up at the top of the hour next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental. Coming in April, Valley will have a second location opening up on the North Parkway between Winchester Road and Bob Wade. They'll be offering bigger contractor-only type equipment, including 10K reach forklifts, 300 series track hose, and larger rollers and dozers, along with other equipment. Valley Equipment's 2 locations will better serve the region and allow them to grow their fleet. Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned for 10 years, where they put more care in every rental.
Get your Ford your way today. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got F-150s in stock right now. We have F-150s on the ground so you can climb behind the wheel and take a test drive today. Plus at Woody Anderson Ford, our 2021 F-150s come with $1,000 in bonus cash, along with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months with your good credit. This offer ends January 31st. To be clear, these F-150s are in stock today, ready for your garage tonight. Now let's talk about making a custom factory order. Not only is there no extra cost to custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, and Mustang. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you'll see how easy it is. And speaking of easy, our service department is now offering free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Ask about it at Woody Anderson Ford, the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Look forward to seeing you.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortandSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Wall Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase. Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By the way, in case you missed it, Ryan Day went into basically his defensive team room, blew everybody out. Ohio State Buckeyes are going to have a whole new look with their defensive staff. I mean, Jim Knowles has taken over as their defensive coordinator. They have a new DBs coach. They brought in a guy from Cincinnati that was coaching those outstanding DBs with the Bearcats. Basically just blew out his whole defensive staff. You got to do what you got to do. All right, coming up next, it's time to play Beat the Big Dog. I have got all 6 NFL playoff games here in Beat the Big Dog. And if you want to go head-to-head against me, you can do it right now, 256-576-4977. We'll make it easy. Be caller number 2 at 256-576-4977 to play Beat the Big Dog NFL playoff style. Next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Memorial Parkway. Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental is independently owned and operated by local folks right here in the Valley? They are celebrating 10 years into business this year and have grown to be North Alabama's largest supplier of rental skid steers and mini excavators. Now, if you have a question about what tool to use, just call them at 964-6080. And the pros at Valley Equipment will get you into the tool that you need for your specific project. Valley Equipment, more care in every rental.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. Trailblazers star Damian Lillard had surgery today to address a lingering abdominal issue. The procedure will likely keep him out at least 6 to 8 weeks. The team says his status will be reevaluated in 6 weeks. Portland's 10th in the West and is 4-7 without Lillard this season. Blazers begin a 6-game road trip tonight in Denver, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. John Morant and the Grizzlies try to stretch their winning streak to 11 tonight when they take on the Timberwolves. Today, Major League Baseball and the Players Association holding their first negotiations since MLB locked out players on December 2nd. The league planning to make a new proposal to players. In order for the 2022 season to start on time, a new CBA needs to be in place by early March. For more on these stories, tune into the 6 Eastern Sports Center on ESPN TV.
When we say local, we mean local, not Birmingham.
Loser.
We are the only sports talk station in Huntsville. It's all right here. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got a magical glow.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Beat the Big Dog today is brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. And by the way, I was hoping that Philip would hang in there for that. I was hoping that we would have the Philip for Beat the Big Dog because it would be fun to play Beat the Big Dog against. But I've got all 6 of the NFL playoff games here in Beat the Big Dog against the spread. And the next one in is going to get to play. So if you want to go ahead and jump on the line with us, you can do it. 256-5764-97.7. You can pick those games against me. North Alabama Mortgage is there for all of your mortgage needs, not just the new purchases, but the refinances as well. They do conventional, VA, FHA, USDA loans. They do it all at North Alabama Mortgage. And they serve not only Alabama, but Florida and Tennessee as well. And this is a great time to cash out and, for renovations or college expenses or whatever it is that you've got coming on, going on there. They treat their clients like family. I mean, that's what's great about North Alabama Mortgage. You feel totally comfortable because a lot of times, I know you're getting bombarded now, and this is how it started for me. I was getting bombarded by mail from people wanting to refinance my house for me. And it's like, oh, you've reached this threshold. Oh, your credit is this good. Oh, you're going to time to refinance. Oh, we can get a rate down on it. I mean, every day 4 or 5 of them in the mail. You guys know what I'm talking about. You get, if you're a homeowner, you're getting the same thing. You're getting pounded by it. So at that point in time, I pick up the phone. I call Brian Hamaker. He says, that's all a bunch of garbage. It's just, they're throwing rates at you that, things that are make-believe. I'll work with you on this. And that was it. And when you've got somebody that you trust, you don't have to worry that anything that you're getting bamboozled on anything. And that's how it is with North Alabama Mortgage. Go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. All right, phone lines are open. I'm not giving you my picks until we're playing Beat the Big Dog. So this is the segment for Beat the Big Dog. If you want in, you can jump in now. 256-576-4977 will get you in, and we'll take a look at all of the games that are coming up here on this deal. I don't think there's any surprise to the news that Evan Neal will be a top 5 or 6 or 7 pick in the upcoming NFL draft.
Or 8. Or 8. Number 8.
You're hoping at 8. You're hoping at 8 for the Falcons. You're hoping at 8. That Evan Neal is declaring for the NFL draft. that could happen. I don't think he'll be there at 8.
No, I don't think he's going to be there at 8. I don't think he's going to get out of the top 5.
He is a large human being. I mean, remember when he came in as a freshman? It's amazing when you look at him now, physically. I mean, he's 6'7", 350 pounds. When he came in as a freshman, he was still 6'7", and he was probably 360 at that time. But he looked a little sloppy. You remember when he first came in, Evan Neal? He looked a little sloppy. He always had the plumber's crack going. Britches were always falling down a little bit. He had the big gut. His body has been transformed from where he was as an 18-year-old to where he is as a 21-year-old. He is a different-looking human being. And I think he has a chance to be great. Not good, but great in the NFL. I mean, we'll see. But he is a consensus first-team All-American captain, and he's out. And Phil Mathis as well. And it'll be interesting to see in this NFL if there's a place for a guy like Phil Mathis. I think there's always a place for a large defensive tackle type guy. Now, he was, he played a lot of shade technique. And there's a lot of that odd look in the NFL, but they bounce back and forth between a one-eye, and sometimes you got to play a three-tech, which he can do. But he's basically made his lunch, he's basically made his name eating lunch of centers in college football. But Phil Mathis also gone to the NFL draft. I don't think there was any surprise about that either. The biggest surprise of the guys that went in the transfer portal, there were like 5 guys that went into the transfer portal, was probably Drew Sanders. I thought Drew Sanders had an opportunity to be really, really good. That one surprised me a little bit. Billingsley did not. He ended up being such a disappointment. And then when you think about whatever it was that was going on beforehand that led to that, led to him not playing, early on and all that kind of stuff. It makes you wonder whether or not there was obviously there was other things that were going on there. So the Billingsley thing, he'll go down as a guy that I thought had a lot more talent than what ended up manifesting itself on the field for Alabama. We were talking yesterday about all the gnashing of teeth that's going to go on now about college football and about the SEC. And whether or not we need expansion and what we need to make it more of a national sport if it needs to be more of a national sport. But this is a beaut. Check this out. This was from Dimitri Ravenos from Barrett Sports Media, blaming ESPN for college football being too stale. He said this, among other things. He said the easiest change the network can make is to update the soundtrack of College Game Day. Yeah, that's the problem with college football. The soundtrack of College Game Day is the problem. Every song, he says this, every song in the pregame show is around a decade old. He said, here are some of the go-to songs with the year of their release. Big and Rich is Coming to Your City, 2005. Kid Rock's God Bless Saturday from 2010. Instrumental track from Shazam from 2012, Florida Georgia Line, This Is How We Roll from 2013, and Zach Brown's band Homegrown from 2015. He says not only is it old music, 10 years old, not only is it old music, it's 65 to 70% country. In fact, it might be 80% country. If ESPN is concerned about where college football audience is coming from in the future, maybe it should not try to exclusively package the game like it's targeting a 40 and 50-year-old white woman from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, maybe they know where their audience is.
You got to have some more hip-hop. Got to have some more.
Is that what we need?
That's gonna. Got to have some more
that's-
techno. I'm down for the EDM techno. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they need to do is have more hip-hop in the pregame music.
I need some more trumpet. I'm just saying. More saxophone. I need more saxophone. I need jazz. I need blues.
That's the problem. There's too much country music in the pregame show.
How about
That's the problem.
What was the Katy Perry like live event or whatever, but it was like a commercial basically? I mean, like,
no, you're talking about her. They debuted her.
Oh,
new
okay. I'm sorry.
Video, which was. Did you watch? It was like soft porn. I would have rather seen the bands. It was like, really, who made the decision to put this soft porn on, rather than might as well show us the Georgia and the Alabama bands. I'd have rather seen that. They put her on. She's grabbing her crotch and touching herself all over the place, and it was ridiculous. It's crazy. Anyway, Yeah, so that's what he also said. This
I guarantee the music has nothing to do with the play on the field.
Yeah, yeah. ESPN is holding the sport back by using country music. You know
we had hip hop for the Super Bowl and all that other stuff, and because nobody said anything last year about how it changed. Watching the game,
NASCAR did this. They felt like they had to be coast to coast, and now they went in the toilet. It's okay. It's okay. This is the best part of the country. All right, we are a quarter of the country. From Texas to Florida to Kentucky to in the Carolinas. And even if you add in Clemson and the other great teams that are in the South that aren't even SEC teams, it's okay. It's all right. And you know what? They had great ratings for the national championship game. They didn't have great ratings for the other deal, for the semifinals, but those were on New Year's Eve. So come on. All right, now does Josh want to play Beat the Big Dog? You said, I don't know if there was somebody else that wanted to talk about my other rant. I will say this. Josh, hang on one second. I will say this. He said one thing that makes a little bit of sense, Chris. He said, take the bull by the horns along with EA Sports.
Yeah.
And get the video game out there in a way that inspires the cult following that it had a decade ago. That was an important deal, part of the nationalization of college football fandom, as any star player or coach or any television deal, which I understand is coming back, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2023. And if you listen to the soundtracks, I mean, Madden, all it is hip-hop and all this other stuff, and there's cool rock stuff. But usually the NCAA games usually had, like, the fight songs. Like, they would play the fight songs in between, or there would be a made-up EA-generated song. It wasn't necessarily, like, country or, whatever.
Well, he's not talking about the music with that. He's just saying bring back the video
bring
game.
It back. Bring that nostalgia.
Bring back because then everybody is a fan.
But here's another thing. Everyone, because when we talk about fantasy football, everybody follows Madden because they do the Madden Ultimate Team, and then they can have all these generated lineups and all this other stuff. And it keeps people more engaged with the sport outside of the sport. And so I think the same thing goes with college football, even though these kids weren't getting – all it would say was, quarterback number 12 or quarterback number 2 or halfback number 24 or whatever, So
everybody knew that was Tim Tebow on
But you knew who it was. Yeah. That's
yeah.
like when I played NCAA 2001, Sean Alexander was on the cover of it. And I knew, you know what I mean? You knew who was who, like when you looked at the roster, So it was it was a lot of fun even back in the day.
This will help. It always helps giving giving national love to the sport. Always.
Correct.
All right, let's get you know what it's time to do is it's time to do our playoff version.
There are rules to success, my friend. Rule number 1 is know what you know what you don't know, and know that I gotta know everything you know.
So Josh is going to give it a shot here. Playoff version of Beat the Big Dog. That's all we got the rest of the way through the Super Bowl.
I don't know how to say this without sounding a little rude, but you're a lemon.
All right, Josh, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Doing great. How are you guys?
We are fantastic here, and you're ready to play the Beat the Big Dog, the playoff edition of Beat the Big Dog. Now, you know how this works, right? You're going to get Grizz's opinion on the games. We're going to alternate the games so that we don't end up making all the same picks. So the question is, do you want to pick first on the first game, or do you want to pick first on the second game?
I'll pick first on the second game.
All right, so we'll get the first game, and we're going to go in order of the games being played, and we're going to start them with the Raiders getting 5.5 at the Bengals, who have never in the history of their organization won a road playoff game, but they get to play this one at home. I'm going to give you what I know about the weather in these games as well, because I think it's going to be a factor, because we have really 3 cold weather venues in the 6 games that we're going to have. In this one, they're looking at 34 degrees, partly sunny skies, so I don't think weather is a big issue here. I think wind is always going to be a bigger problem, but right now it looks like it's just going to be a nice, calm January day in Cincinnati. Raiders going there getting 5.5. I don't think it's enough. I'm gonna root like crazy for the Raiders. I hate the Bengals. I'll root for the Raiders. The Raiders are a dome team going into a hostile situation there. I think that Joe Burrow gets this win here. Jamar Chase is amazing. I love the Raiders. I'll take the Bengals, and lay the 5.5. They win this game by at least a touchdown. Grizz, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. This is the same Bengals team that went into Oakland and just absolutely dismantled them. Joe Mixon's too much for them.
Or Vegas.
It's really not. Yeah, it's really nice to see what the Raiders are doing despite all the backlash and everything that's been going on this whole season. But it's going to have to stop here. The Bengals are for real. So
does Patascia keep the job? Do you think, even if they lose?
And I think he should because of how well he coached. But once he does, how long does he last? I mean, can he establish a program? And I think maybe they get a guy outside the franchise, and maybe a Dayball or somebody that that can get Derek Carr really humming.
Yeah. All right, Josh, what do you think? Raiders plus 5.5 at the Bengals.
I'm with you guys. I think Cincy gets this one for sure.
All right, our next game, you guys go first. This is Saturday night. I know what the NFL is trying to do. They want a snow game at night. They want to recreate that Raider-Patriot deal back in the beginning of Tom Brady and thing, and they're looking for some weather. But this is really unfair. It's going to be dangerously cold in Buffalo on Saturday, and then they put this game at 8 o'clock at night Eastern. I mean, it's going to be 6 degrees. 6 degrees. Now, when you watch the game, you're going to see this glowing red in the mezzanine or in the club seat level. This glowing red. That is the heated seats. The mezzanine level has these heaters that are over the seats, and you'll see that glow throughout the game. Having said that, the real issue is wind. The Bills are not built for this kind of weather. They're a passing team 100%. Patriots are getting 4.5 points here. Grizz, what do you think?
Yeah, I've seen all these reports where Allen can't throw in cold weather. He can't play very well in cold weather, even though he kind of came from like a northern college or whatever. I don't understand
Wyoming.
how. Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't play in cold weather. I guess it's not that cold out there or something. But
it is, but they don't play in January. You know what I mean?
But when I look at it, I see Bill Belichick in the playoffs. With a somewhat rookie experienced quarterback. I'm going with Scuba Steve and Mac Jones in this. I think he's going to wear the scuba suit. He's going to get it. He's going to channel his inner Tom Brady, and he's going to get his first playoff win.
Is he going to throw a pass?
He might throw 4 passes, four to 5 passes throughout the entire night.
Yeah,
but there's it's not windy. It's just really cold. It's like -8 or whatever. So it's not like last time where it was like 25 mile per winds.
Yeah, it's going to be 4 degrees. I'm trying to get a wind, 7 mile an hour. So 11 mile an hour, fairly light winds. A little bit breezy, but fairly light winds. All right, what do you think, Josh?
I think I'm going to go with the Grizz, and I think the Patriots will pull it out. It's that cold weather. That's like the big X factor. Like he had mentioned the game before where they had all the wind. It's not going to be quite that way, but I think the Patriots, Bill Belichick, he'll find a way to get them through this one.
I don't know if they'll win the game, but 4.5 is a pretty good little number. I could see the Bills kicking a field goal to win this game, possibly something like that. I think it's going to be a tight game, played close to the vest. I'm taking the points more than I'm taking the Pats, if you know what I'm saying. I like the Pats with the 4.5. All right, our next game is the first game on Sunday. Now, this is a classic example, right? This game should be played at night. All right, the Bills should have been playing the first game on Sunday during the daytime when there'll be a little bit of sunshine and it won't be quite as cold, but this is what they do. So the Eagles are getting 8.5 points at the Buccaneers. I think the Eagles are sneaky here right now. The Bucs still have some issues, and I know they'll kick it into high gear, and it's Brady and all of that kind of stuff. I think the Eagles are going to make this a contest. I'm going to take points with the Eagles here. I'll take the 8.5. They're not going to win the game, but I'd like the 8.5 points with the Eagles. Grizz, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you as well. I think it's a lot of points. The Eagles are playing really well on defense. Offense is playing really well as well. You got to love what Jalen Hurts is doing. I know he's probably had a lot of doubt probably coming in as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I know I've heard it many a times on this station. So I think Tampa Bay is still going to find a way to win the game. I just think like it might be 3 to 5 points, but I think it's going to be a really close one. I think Eagles are going to give Kelsey a run for his money for if this might be his last season.
All right, what do you think? What do you think, Josh?
You know what, Tom Brady. I think I got to go with the Bucs.
All right, you're gonna give me 8.5, but you go ahead and take the Bucks there. All right, and our next one, you guys go first. This is going to be a fun game. If everybody's wearing the gear they're supposed to wear, this is a sports eye candy game. I don't know if there'll be the catch involved here. I don't know if Joe Montana will be there or not. But the 49ers get 3.5 at the Cowboys, Grizz.
Another thing, I'm kind of weird about the scheduling and everything like that, where 2 AFC games are on Saturday and you don't have like a mismatch or something. You know what I mean? But anyway, I like the 49ers. I really like them on defense. I love what they're doing with Deebo Samuel. I mean, can Jimmy Garoppolo get out of his own way at times, kind of like the Carson Wentz effect over at the Colts? You know, can he get out of the way and not lose this game for his team? And I really like the 49ers here, but I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to go with the Cowboys. Like I just think they're a really good team right now. I think they're really good on offense, and hopefully they can finally get past the 49ers and move on and actually show us something for being America's team.
All right, what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I agree with the Grizz. I think this is the time that the Cowboys finally break through.
You know, I'm taking the Cowboys as well. 3.5 is scary because of the hook. Don't sleep on Jimmy Garoppolo. Don't be talking about Jimmy Garoppolo like he's Carson Wentz. And don't be saying that Jimmy Garoppolo, doesn't lose the game for his team. Jimmy Garoppolo can win the game for his team. Jimmy Garoppolo took a team to a Super Bowl. This kid does nothing but win.
Deebo Samuel can throw it, he can run it, and he can catch it. So
I'm telling you, I will not be surprised one bit if the Cowboys crap down their leg on this game. And then the question will be, too, if it happens, if the 49ers walk in there and beat a Cowboy team that won 12 games, look, Mike McCarthy, I mean, did things start to heat up at all for him? Yeah. Is there an expectation? Because the window feels – I don't know about the window for the Cowboys. So we'll see what happens here. But I'm going to take the Cowboys and lay the points with trepidation. Jimmy G – I like that kid. But
I really love the 49ers on defense, but, man,
their defense gets after it, man.
It's really tough to
All right. And, again, this is the scheduling thing. Why wasn't the Steelers-Chiefs game, the 1 o'clock game, Eastern, the noon game, and the Eagles-Bucks game, the nighttime game? Right? So the people in Tampa, when it's going to be 80 degrees, they can sit up there and get a suntan, while the people in Kansas City get hypothermia on Sunday night. I mean, the Chiefs, at least it'll be 35 degrees during the day on Sunday, and there'll be some sunshine. The Bucks game could have been at night. I don't understand why they do this. Steelers get 12.5 at the Chiefs. Ben Roethlisberger said it was 20 and that they didn't have any chance. I think he's trying to get his team psyched up. Mike Tomlin's a bit of a witch here. Roethlisberger, they can run the ball. The Chiefs, are they the team that early in the season looked vulnerable? Or are they a team late in the season that looked like they were rolling everybody? I'm taking 12.5 points, man. I hope the Chiefs beat the brakes off them, but I'm taking the 12.5 points. That's just too much in a playoff game like this. I'm going to take the Steelers plus 12.5, Grizz.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of points. I'm going to have to go with the Steelers here. I think the Chiefs are for real. I think, you did kind of see, I did watch a little bit of that game last week. Kelsey was kind of shaken up a little bit, but he was able to walk off the field at the end of the game, and he seemed like he was okay. So, and you had Tyreek Hill, who was kind of injured throughout that game and really didn't, do a whole lot, but got back in the game and still kind of played some. So you kind of wonder what injuries might be affecting the Chiefs maybe after this game, because it's going to be a night game. It's going to be cold. But I'm going to have to take the Steelers here. I think it's going to be a last two-raw for Big Ben once again. And, I think he's still going to go out a winner. And I think they have a good enough – or not a winner, but I mean a good – just going to his Hall of Fame career just going out, a great player. And I think they could end up, pulling it within, maybe a touchdown or maybe 10 points within the Chiefs.
What do you think, Josh?
12.5 is so many points. I can't disagree with you guys. That's too scary of a number to go again.
And he's going to go out. Nobody's going to remember. Do you remember Dan Marino's last game, Chris?
No, because I was younger.
Oh.
I don't even think I was born.
They got beat like I think I might be making this up. I'm going by memory. I think they got beat like 60-7 or something, 61-7 or something like that by Jacksonville. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of Jimmy Johnson's last game. I don't know. It doesn't matter what happens here. Ben's going to the Hall of Fame. But, yeah, that 12.5 is too many points. All right, guys, last one. You guys go first on this one. The Cardinals get 4.5 at the Rams, who are trying to become the second team in a row to host the Super Bowl. What do you think? Monday night, Cards plus 4.5 at the Rams.
I've never been a believer in the Cardinals. I just don't know about them. I like the Rams, and we talk about quarterbacks who can get out of their own way. Matt Stafford, if he can get out of his own way with the Rams, and how good their defense is, and just how much talent they have along the wide receiver core. I got to go with the Rams here. I think the Rams are for real.
All right, what do you think, Josh?
I know so very little about both of these teams. This is just a shot in the dark. I'm going to have to go against the Grizz and take the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals too. I just think that the more dynamic quarterback trying to make some plays here, 4.5. Again, the Rams could win this game, but we're over that magic number of 3. They had the Rams had gotten them before. I think the Cardinals come in here and play better. Matt Stafford, something seems to be off in terms of him making big errors at the biggest particular moments in time. The biggest issue, though, is I can't stand the Rams, and I can't stand the thought of them playing at home in the Super Bowl. I want them out of the playoffs, and I want them out of the playoffs now. I would rather watch the Cardinals going forward in other playoff games. So I'm going to take the Cardinals here plus the 4.5. So in summation, we both have the Bengals laying 5.5 to the Raiders. I'm going to pull for the Raiders. We both have the Patriots getting 4.5 at the Bills. Josh, you have the Bucks, and you're giving me 8.5. I got the Eagles. We both got the Cowboys laying 3.5 to the 49ers. We both got the Steelers getting 12.5, and we both got the Cardinals getting 4.5. So this whole thing comes down to the Eagles and the Bucks game to determine who beats the big dog and if you can get me or not. All right, Josh, good job by you, man, and we'll look forward to talking to you again.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Let's get a break. What does Steve Merrill think about these games? He's coming up next from ProSportsInfo.com. It's Steve Merrill on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
For over 20 years, Audio Insight has been designing and installing systems that integrate today's technology into homes and businesses all over the Tennessee Valley. At Audio Insight, they don't provide one-size-fits-all system solutions. Instead, they design your system from the ground up based on your valuable input. By working closely with you, Audio Insights can ensure that your system will meet your performance, budget, and aesthetic needs. Visit the showroom at 1229 Putman Drive off Jordan Lane and experience some of their fine products firsthand. Visit audio-insight.com to learn more.
Get your Ford your way today. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got F-150s in stock right now. We have F-150s on the ground so you can climb behind the wheel and take a test drive today. Plus at Woody Anderson Ford, our 2021 F-150s come with $1,000 in bonus cash, along with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months with your good credit. This offer ends January 31st. To be clear, these F-150s are in stock today, ready for your garage tonight. Now let's talk about making a custom factory order. Not only is there no extra cost to custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, and Mustang. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you'll see how easy it is. And speaking of easy, our service department is now offering free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Ask about it at Woody Anderson Ford, the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Look forward to seeing you.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A few more clouds this afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, but temperatures should still climb into the low and mid-50s. Seasonal for this time of year, dropping into the low and mid-30s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Friday. A little cooler on Friday afternoon. Temperatures only hanging out in the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the mid-30s as we head into the overnight. It does look like we are going to be dry through the first half of the day on Saturday, but once we get beyond the lunch hour, it does look like some widespread rain is going to move into the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Woody Anderson of Madison. And, of course, at Woody Anderson Ford, Woody Anderson of Madison, you don't have to have a Ford to have your service done there, but they do a tremendous job. Body shop is outstanding as well. Plus, the inventory is starting to build up, and there are F-150s now down there for you to take a look at. And, of course, the certified gold pre-owned vehicles as well are tremendous. They have to go through a rigorous list of things before they become a gold certified pre-owned vehicle at Woody Anderson Ford. And I bought a couple of them in the last 6 months, and you could do the same thing. Go down there and check out the great rates that you will get. I deal with Brian Williams when I deal down there, if I'm not dealing with Bobby White. But Bobby and his team, you want to talk about how important it is for the service department. Bobby starts every single day down there with a meeting with the service department, and that's what a high priority service is at Woody Anderson Ford. All right, joining us now, Steve Merrill, back from ProSportsInfo.com. Steve, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Tom, doing well.
How much interest have you had in watching the testing that's going on at Daytona and some of the other places with this new car? Different look, different package, even the way they put the numbers on them. The numbers are way forward on the car, and they have ads on the side of them and all that kind of stuff. But it's got a kind of an IROC feel to it. I know they're trying to make it so that you can tell the cars apart. I'm having a little bit of a hard time, but have you been watching some of this testing?
Yeah, it's always interesting when they switch things up, and as a handicapper, it's going to be a little more tricky because we can't go on past results as much now, because if the car is more beneficial to one type of driver than another, then we have to kind of throw out all the past track histories. Now, of course, we're going to have a lot of practice sessions this year, which is a huge plus as a handicapper. That's something I have not had the past 2 years since the COVID shutdown. They barely ever have practice anymore, and I think that's the single best handicapping factor in all of NASCAR, because you literally get to see how guys are running with race trim on the track that weekend, right before the race. So I'm hoping that negates a little bit of the uncertainty. I think for the most part, everything's going to be kind of the same here. There might be little changes that we have to, keep an eye on. But I still look for the usual suspects to do well. And something else to keep in mind, if things do change up, the best drivers probably benefit. And I still think the guys that dominate for the most part, like Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, are the most talented overall drivers. So they probably will have a faster learning curve as well.
It'll be interesting to see. One of the changes is that the driver in the cockpit is moved more towards the center of the car, and that might be a little disconcerting, for some of the guys that are veteran guys. But that'll be a little bit interesting to see how they react to that, not being against the against the door, if you will.
Yeah, once again, like you said, the veteran guys have been racing in that type of car for 10, 15, 20 years. It might be a longer learning curve, whereas somebody coming up through the other series, it's already an adjustment. Even when you go from Xfinity to the Cup Series, the car has more horsepower. It's a different feel. And then once again, Kyle Larson, who I think is the best overall driver on the circuit in any type of race, this is the guy that when he got suspended a year ago, went to the Dirt Series and won every other race, ran like 90 races, won like 40 of them. So he also is very comfortable in different types of styles of cars. And it's hard to see him not dominating again this year.
Steve Merrill with us, Pro Sports Info. All right, NFL playoffs get started this weekend, and it's going to be a fascinating deal. We get 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then a game on Monday night. And there are 3 bad weather sites where you could potentially have a snow type game. Nasty weather. You got a Saturday night in Buffalo. They're talking about single-digit temperatures there, but light winds. But ironically, the worst weather may actually be in Tampa. Sunday afternoon, they are calling for 69 degrees, 25-mile-an-hour winds, and 80% chance of storms, thunderstorms, and heavy rain throughout the game, with higher wind gusts, even higher than the 25 miles an hour that they're talking about wind. That is something that I would think that you got to keep a really close eye on.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling for snow in Cincinnati on Sunday, so they're going to miss that by a day being the early game Saturday, right? And as you said, Buffalo, extremely cold, but last I checked yesterday, no wind, no snow, so it's going to actually be better than that Monday night game and when the Patriots ran the ball every play except for 3 a couple months ago. Isn't it ironic, that Tampa, Florida, where it's 70 every day basically, could have the weather issues? But you're exactly right, Tom. What you got to look for is wind. Snow can be a little bit of an issue, only heavy snow, to be honest. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. Rain, I think rain sometimes can help scoring unless it's a torrential downpour, in which visibility becomes a problem. But wind is the one that always gets vastly overlooked. And once you get to gusts, the reason wind is such a factor on scoring is, first of all, it hurts the kicking game, and second of all, it hurts the passing game. And nowadays, teams throw more than ever, including the Tampa Bay Bucks. And, so by default, you have to say, well, if it's dicey weather conditions, that probably somewhat makes the game a little more random, makes it a little more lower scoring. And if that's the case, then obviously a more than a touchdown dog like Philly has a better chance now. In fact, the over-under on this game opened 49.5. It's now 46. So obviously the weather has discounted it a full field goal. It just depends on how bad that weather gets, because 46 is fairly a high number still if scoring is a problem. As far as the point spread in that game, it's sitting pretty solid on 8.5 still. Tampa Bay on a 6-point teaser, getting them down to 2.5. Moving the line 6 points with the teaser obviously puts them in a basic straight-up win situation. So that's a pretty appealing play to me on the teaser. I just wish, the weather was going to be clear and we didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, because, it'll affect the passing of Tom Brady. It will not affect the mobility of Jalen Hurts. I look at that. If it is a weather game and it is tough to throw the ball, the wild card here is a quarterback that can go for 100 yards in that game if he needs to. And, that's the thing that, that could be an equalizer in that game. The 8.5 seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, once again, if the weather's a problem, I would agree that the 8.5 is concerning. However, the Eagles and the Cowboys, the Cowboy 49er game is right after it on Sunday. You do have to start to wonder about how good Dallas or Philly really is, because that NFC East outside of those two teams was just terrible. Washington was pretty bad. The Giants are the worst team in the league finishing the season. I mean, their offense down the stretch is as bad as I've seen in recent decades. And if you look at Dallas recently, all their wins basically came against those divisional opponents. Philly had a few wins against other teams, but once again, they didn't necessarily step up either against playoff caliber teams. So I do feel like both Philly and the Cowboys could be a little overrated. Down the stretch here, they didn't really either play any other good playoff teams, but the weather can be the great equalizer, and obviously mobility is not Brady's strength, and Jalen Hurts would have a huge edge in that regard.
Well, in that Cowboys-49ers game in Beat the Big Dog, we just did an episode of Beat the Big Dog, and I did take the Cowboys and lay the 3.5 points. I don't like the pick, though. I don't like it at all. I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. I think he finds a way to win football games. Getting that 3, we're using 3 and a hook. That's a magic number, that 3, as you know. I would not be surprised one bit to see the 49ers go in there and walk out of there with a win against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just from a game theory perspective, you have to take San Francisco plus 3.5, because that line is, of course, 3 across the board at all the markets. The difference between 3.5 is a 10% difference. There's a 10% chance Dallas wins by exactly 3. So if it's a truly 50-50 play, or to be mathematically correct, 45-45, 10% chance push, right? Just getting that extra half point at plus 3.5, you now have a 55% chance the Niners cover on the blind without any handicapping. So 3.5 is a very beneficial number, due to the contest format there. And I think you can also, as I said, make a case for San Francisco being an underrated team. They really turned things on when they beat the Rams a few months ago in that Monday Nighter. And if you look at them statistically, both teams are about 6 yards, about a half a yard per play, 0.6 yards per play better offensively than their opponents. Dallas is negative 0.1 defensively. The Niners are plus 0.3. So the Niners were as good, if not better, on both sides of the ball. And, basically Dallas is given 3 because they're at home. And something I want to point out here, home field has not been beneficial in the wild card playoffs the last 11 years. In fact, road teams on the blind have been better straight up and ATS. Just blindly playing all the road teams, you've made money the last decade.
Yeah, and one of those road teams would be the Steelers. I don't know, can we trust the Chiefs? The way they look the first half of the season, the way they look the second half of the season, the Steelers can run the ball. They do have a problem with pass protection, but they got a big physical back in Najee Harris. 12.5 in a playoff game. Ben says they got no chance, which means they got a chance. I don't think they can win this football game, but they get after the quarterback. You look at Mahomes under pressure. Things get squirrely with him, and the Steelers certainly do get after the quarterback. Man, that 12.5 seems like a fat number going into that game.
Yeah, of course, these teams just played the day after Christmas on December 26th, just about 3 weeks ago, and not even close on the final score. Pittsburgh lost that game 36-10 on the same field at Kansas City. They were a 10-point dog in that game. Total was 44. Now the line has been bumped to 12.5. Total has been bumped to 46. So the point spread and the total both a couple points higher. That last game had landed exactly on 46, 36-10. A little misleading, though. Steelers were terrible in that game. Obviously, they had a 3-0 turnover deficit. They only got outgained by about 100 total yards. Some of that was in garbage time, of course. The real question for me, though, is this a Kansas City team that's going to continue to win but not cover? Over the last 2 years, Kansas City has won more games straight up, yet failed to cover because they've had inflated point spread. That has not been happening as much until last week when they beat Denver by 4, did not cover that Saturday game. But Kansas City has been getting more reasonable prices, and they had won the majority of their recent games by double digits. But still, I kind of agree. This almost has a feeling of one of those games, Tom, in which Kansas City wins by 7 or 10 but doesn't cover the spread.
I just think I just saw a game on Monday night where two teams played, and they had played a month ago. And, the second result was a little different than the first result. When it's good on good, like I say, I don't see the Steelers going in and winning outright, but I could see them going there and playing a different game than they played the last time they were in there. When you get two teams together for a second round like that, it would seem like, they could at least hang a little bit.
Yeah, I think what's interesting also is the fact that the total is now 2 points higher than the first meeting. Now, I know that first meeting landed exactly on 46. The total was 44, but it was 36-10. It's not like Pittsburgh did anything offensively. And all this season, Pittsburgh has been a bad offensive team. And the one thing the Chiefs have started to do better here the last couple months when they've started to win and cover is play defense. They've still held 4 of their last 7 opponents to 10 points or less, including that Pittsburgh game. And by the way, I talked about how road teams in the blind have been a good play in the wild card. Over the last decade, blindly playing the under in every game has gone 31-15 to the under. All wild card games the last decade has been 31-15 to the under. And this year, as you know, Tom, we saw a lot of unders. Almost every week went under except for a handful this year in the NFL. So it'll be very interesting to see if the odds makers make the proper adjustment. But in this situation, they've actually raised the total 2 points from just 3 weeks ago.
And then finally, we get our first Monday night playoff game. It'll be the Cardinals at the Rams. Now, all the way back in September, early October, they beat the Rams at the Rams 37-20 when the Cardinals were playing out of their minds the first 8 or 10 games of the season. Then they turn around and lost to the Rams at home 30-23. So they get the rematch in L.A., where there seems to be very little home field advantage. Now, the Cardinals don't have a huge traveling ban. It's not like the 49ers, but it was comical to hear the Rams saying they were having a hard time making their signals and their audibles at the line of scrimmage. They had to go silent count at home against the 49ers. So, that home ice is not a big thing, I don't think, for the Rams right now. Did the Cards have a chance to go there and duplicate what they did 3 months ago?
Yeah, there's 2 really good matchups this week in which I think it's kind of a shame one of the team in each game has to be eliminated, and that, of course, is Patriots-Bills. I think both those teams could go all the way. They got to play Saturday night. One of them will be gone before any of the NFC teams even play this weekend. And then the other one is this Cardinal-Ram game. I mean, these are 2 teams you can envision making some runs. The other thing I'll point out about all these games, though, 12 quarterbacks playing this weekend. The only 3 that you would really probably trust with any playoff experience would be obviously Brady, Mahomes, and maybe Ben Roethlisberger, who's kind of on his way out. I mean, even Josh Allen's been up and down during his career. And here you look at Stafford, who's been really good over the last decade, very limited playoff experience, though. And then Aaron Murray, of course, has a ton of potential as well, but limited postseason experience. So you just wonder, will both quarterbacks have their A game here? By the way, I love the fact they're doing this Monday night game. I think that's a great move, have Monday night playoff action. Why not spread it out? It's great for handicappers as well. But it really comes down to the quarterback play in this one. A line open 4. It is set at 4 so far. We've seen very little movement. Total open 50. We've seen a little bit of movement to the under here. It's now 49.5. As I mentioned earlier, just blindly playing the under the last decade has been about a 65% play in all these playoff games in the wild card round. And if you look at these 2 defenses, statistically, both teams throw the ball really well. We'll see if they can stop the pass. Both teams actually have had above average pass defenses. So, 49.5, one of the bigger totals this week.
Well, we know that you are crushing it, with the basketball. How can they get a pick here on this deal out of you this week?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, free basketball play, or if you want a free NFL playoff selection instead, just email me, mention the show, steve@prosportsinfo.com. Mention that you heard the show. You get one of my official best bets. Games are hitting over 60% for 2022. It's been a great start to the new year. Just email me, mention the show for a free best bet, steve@prosportsinfo.com.
Steve, have a great weekend.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, we're going to break in here. When we come back, the Phillip is up. You want to jump in behind him, you got room to do that. You can do it, 256-576-4977. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors with Phillip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Phillip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Switching season is here at WOW. Get gig speed internet for just $64.99 a month at wowway.com. Plus, get a year of HBO Max included and $300 on us. Wow. After the promotional period, HBO Max will auto-renew at then prevailing rate. Limited to new customers with auto-pay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get your Ford your way today. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got F-150s in stock right now. We have F-150s on the ground so you can climb behind the wheel and take a test drive today. Plus at Woody Anderson Ford, our 2021 F-150s come with $1,000 in bonus cash, along with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months with your good credit. This offer ends January 31st. To be clear, these F-150s are in stock today, ready for your garage tonight. Now let's talk about making a custom factory order. Not only is there no extra cost to custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, and Mustang. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you'll see how easy it is. And speaking of easy, our service department is now offering free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Ask about it at Woody Anderson Ford, the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Look forward to seeing you.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Leading the way for sports talk in North Alabama.
Winning is the only thing that matters.
Thank you.
Yes, amen, I say yes.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
So I'm going to watch it on TV.
The game's on. Oh, I almost forgot. I'll be right there.
We like sports and we don't care who knows. From shooting hoops to the Super Bowl. We like sports and we don't care who knows. Football, tennis, hockey, golf. The game is starting. Everyone is here. I got my snacks, my friends, and a beer.
So I'm going to watch it on TV.
Are you ready for the football? A Monday night party!
So I'm going to watch it on TV. So I'm going to watch it on TV.
For the watch on TV tonight is brought to you by Audio Insight. At Audio Insight, they can do everything you need to do. You're building a new home, get them in there to work with your designer or your contractor, and they will make sure that you get the sound system throughout the entire house that you want, or you'll get that theater room that you want. You got an existing home and you're trying to retrofit something, they can do that. You need a TV hung and a sound bar and so on. They can do that as well. Dave Bond and his team are just tremendous. They've been doing this for over 20 years in the Tennessee Valley. Go to audio-insight.com to learn more. My top pick for the night tonight, Grizz, will be the Bruins and the Flyers. I am hell-bent on getting you involved in hockey. All right, I want you to be a hockey
I know.
fan
I do need to be more involved, to be honest with you. I mean, it is something to talk about, and I actually do enjoy hockey. Like, I love the Havoc. Like I said, I grew up kind of a fan of everything, Red Wings, everything back in the day. So it's like, I do like hockey. I just got to get back into it.
Yeah, try and watch a little puck tonight. It's the Flyers at Boston, and that is on ESPN. And of course, the Sabres at the Nashville Predators. You'll be able to find that as well. So that's a good game to take in. All right, let's get to Philip in here so he can get his rant off about his Cowboys, which could be in trouble against the 49ers. Philip, what's going on?
Well, I'd like to try and get through to you tomorrow about that. Can I vent about college football for just a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay. Here, imagine if every sport did this. I don't care if you're talking collegiate or professional. Take March Madness.
Yeah.
Do people sit around and go, well, we think this is the best team. Sorry you lost in the Sweet 16, but we're going to keep you in.
Right.
Then on top of that.
But if you lose your conference championship game, you can still go to the tournament. That's different. That's regular season versus the tournament.
Okay, they do that different. That's not what they do in college football. Halfway through, they start picking who the best team is.
Yeah.
Teams lose in what should be a playoff game, and they don't draft. That same conference gets to pick anybody they want to from all over the country. And people go, SEC. Well, no wonder. If you keep putting two SEC teams in the national championship game, guess what? The SEC team is going to win the national championship game, and every kid across the country is going to want to play for the SEC.
Well,
it's not fair.
Well, there's part of that is we'll develop that a little more tomorrow. Thanks for the call, Philip. But you can't fight the fact that they were the two best teams in the country. I mean, that's it. And as the Big Ten coach said, we're a long way away. Have a great day, everybody.
Here's another listing from the 97.7 ESPN The Zone job board. Automation Personnel Services is seeking a hardworking warehouse operator for a well-respected pharmaceutical company in Huntsville, with pay starting at $15 an hour. Learn more at 977ESPN.com. Does your business have positions it needs filled? Contact 97.7 ESPN The Zone today to get your openings announced on the 97.7 ESPN The Zone job board. Just email Joe at abrahambroadcasting@gmail.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.